welcome along and welcome back to Attingham Park. Today we're going to be sorting out the wheat in field 1, which we need to do, and then we're going to move on and get the sorghum sorted and seeded into field 3, hopefully keeping us nicely on track. If we can then get that rolled in today as well, that would be great, and in fact we need to get that rolled in today. We still have a negative number in our amount of money we have, and so we can't hire anybody, so we're still doing all of this work ourselves, but that's not too big a problem. As I said last time, it's quite nice to be doing these jobs myself and getting all of this done that way. Gives me a much bigger feeling of hands-on on the farm and should work out fairly well for us in the long run. We do still have to work out though how we're going to raise the money for field 13. I'm still erring very much on we're going to have to increase our loan a bit to get it. I think that makes sense, and it's a proper investment to get that amount of money, so we'll be watching that for the next 4 days. I think it's 4 days and 6 hours left on that auction. So I want to keep my eye on that and make sure it's well within what we can go for it with. I'm actually thinking it probably will be. It's not going up incredibly fast, and if it stays below 100,000, I think it's going to be very much within reach for us. Thankfully, we're having a much more positive result in this field than we were having in the other 2 wheat fields. The weeds have not been allowed to grow very high in here, and as a result we are zipping through them and clearing them out really easily with this hoe. This is a fantastic piece of kit, and I'm still kicking myself that one of these came up for sale secondhand a few months ago and we forgot to buy it. We had the money at the time, everything was there, and it was all aligned, and I even noted at the end of the day's recording when I first saw it come up that I wanted to buy it the next episode, and then completely forgot when I came to record the next one. Didn't even check the shop, and it would have been absolutely perfect to have one of these on the farm that we owned. So we're still sticking with this leased one at the moment, and we will eventually buy it when we've got enough hours on it to make it worth our while to purchase it. We will do, or we might just purchase it outright after this year's harvest. If we're adding 2 large fields to our farm this year, then I think our harvest income, as long as we can get everything harvested, which we should be able to with 2 combines, we should end up with a really good income this year. And that should round things off nicely as far as getting our loan paid off and buying any equipment that we want to continue forward with. As I said, great piece of kit, this hoe. It's made short work of this field. We are almost done by about 10 o'clock. We've got a single row to go, but it's tackled all these weeds really easily. Great hoe this. I should point out the reason why we need a hoe on here, in case you've not seen the previous episodes, is that we're using a direct seeder on here, and direct seeders immediately give you the second level of weeds. Completely skip the first level of weeds on a field, so you end up having to use a hoe instead of a standard weeder if you're handling it that way. Because we're using less modern equipment on here, we don't have access to the spot sprayer, as I mentioned a couple of videos ago. If we do get rid of the weeds in the winter weeds, we'll be doing that with just straight on herbicide spraying rather than using a spot sprayer, because I'm trying to keep it a little bit more era specific to the equipment we're using on here. And that kind of makes sense to me a little bit. Plus, limited funds, having a spot sprayer seems to be something that is a little bit overkill for, well, the money that we have. It's almost as much as an entire sprayer to add the spot sprayer add-on onto it. A bit like the reason why we've not got GPS on any of our tractors. because it's one of those expenses that we could almost buy a new tractor with. And a new tractor, I think, is something that's more useful to us than GPS on a single tractor. That is the tow hitch for the seeder that I've just picked up. I've left it at that field, and I need to get it back to the yard because it's only really useful if we're taking the seeder down to field 6. At the moment, everywhere else on the farm is accessible without having to use the tow hitch, so I'm going to just bring it back to the main farm. The only reason it was down there was because the seeder was already folded up when we started doing that field. So let's bring this back around here. We'll park up the hitch. Oh, actually, yeah, the seeder's out there. So we'll park the hitch up over here. And then I'm just going to leave this tractor in our main shed, because next month, May, we're going to have to go and get this hoe on all of the sorghum fields we're currently planting. In the meantime, though, we need to get the sorghum planted, and hopefully we still have enough seed to get field 3 done. So how much seed do we have in here? We've got half a tank of seed and pretty much half a tank of fertilizer. Field 3 thankfully is fairly small. We've got a very odd field here as far as what we want to put in our amount of fertilizer. I'm going to leave it at 60 because on loam it's very low. But on the silty clay at the far end of the field, that will be considered high. And we're going to try and get this seeded. So up to 2H. And away with our 7810. Which has enough power and... Oh, sorry, it's enough repair and enough fuel to get this field done, I think. This is a great field to do today because it's not very big and we should be able to get it done without too much fuss and get it rolled before the end of the day. Some parts of this field have a lot of nitrogen in them. They did really, really well from the slurry that we put on here. However, does mean that they are over fertilized because of the standard rate that we're putting across the field. Some of them are some very dark green patches. Thankfully, I don't think that causes us a drop in yield at all. I think very much it's if we have less yield than we need, then that causes a problem. I have managed to miss a stretch through the middle of the field there, and I'll have to go back and redo that in a moment. But in general, we've been doing fairly well across this field, and as I said, we're looking at fairly green on the nitrogen across most of it. I think any top up we have to do on this field is going to be minor and is going to require very little nitrogen, very little solid fertilizer or liquid fertilizer if we go that route to do it. So I am I'm fairly happy with how the seeding on here is going. Also, we're only down to 40% on the sorghum, so we have plenty of seed going forwards, and we should make it out of the seeding on here at the very least without having to buy more seed. Whether we make it through field 2B without having to do that as well, I think that is less certain. But certainly this field here, we're going to have plenty of seed to get it finished. On to the fiddly bit at the end of the field. Oh, and we've run out of fertilizer. So I need to get that refilled quickly. Let's pop this open. And thankfully, fertilizer is something that we actually have. So we should be able to get the bag of this into our seeder and done. And updated, and we can go through our new path near the farmhouse. So down the side of the house here, and then there's a nice little path down through here that takes us to the top end of the field here. Won't be able to get the seeder through that, interestingly. The trees are too narrow through there. But we'll take the fertilizer and we should be able to put all of this big bag into here. And then whatever we've got in this seeder, that is what we have to do field 2A with tomorrow, which is gonna be quite an interesting thing, as we have used we haven't even used half of our fertilizer, half of our seeds on here, which is very good news because 2A is completely loam. But we have got through all of that fertilizer. So, very, very interesting. I'm hoping that we're going to be okay. Fertilizer is pretty expensive to get rather than the seed. So, I don't know how well this is going to turn out. Just a small section to finish off at the top of the field here. And that will then be this done and dusted. And we can go and grab our roller then and get this field rolled. And hell, it's only 20 to 2 in the afternoon. I think we're looking at being in a fairly good position for getting this all done today. I'm quite happy with that. That is really good news because it means that we're going to get all this finished. Will my trailer or will my seeder fit through here? It is quite wide and this is not the widest of roads. Although actually, no, we're fine. That goes through there absolutely okay. Final one of our 3 jobs we need to get done today then is the rolling of this field. Should be a fairly easy job to get done. We've got more time to get this smaller field done today than we had for the larger 12B the previous days. So I'm not expecting us to have to go into the evening this time to get this job done. We may even finish by 5 o'clock, which would be really, really good turn up for the books. And that means the next month through May, all we have to worry about is getting that last sorghum field seeded and rolled, and the 2 that we currently have got done over these 2 days weeded. One thing I noticed between doing a series where I'm using GPS and a series like this where we're not using GPS, purposefully not using GPS, is that I have to make so many small adjustments when not using GPS. Even if I'm on the right compass point, even if I'm at 90 degrees, the tractor is still undulating and moving about when I'm going across the field. Whereas with GPS, it sticks exactly on that line. No matter how much the tractor moves a little bit, it stays very much on it. So I have to keep an eye here on it the whole time while I'm moving across. I can't just set it on a direction and go like you do with GPS. It is very much, okay, this is roughly the direction I want to go. And now I've stuck it on it. Is it going to actually stay on it? And if not, what is the angle we've got? So we've come on here at 270. And if you look at the bottom left-hand corner, that is moving a fair amount, especially as we speed up. It starts to move around a lot more. And so what I'm actually using to target myself, rather than the compass down in that bottom left, I'm using the lines on the field we've got here. So as they go roughly as they go exactly, in fact, where I want to go, it's very easy for me to point the line down the nose of the bonnet on this 7610 and go, right, stick that in one of the seeding lines, and away we go. And that tends to keep me on a better track going down the field than trying to keep the compass point on exactly the degrees that I think it should be on, because it just allows you to very quickly, and in fact much quicker than with the compass, see those small adjustments you need to make and make them in time for it not to become a problem. I'm back to the fiddly bit at the top end of the field, and I've realized I don't actually know what field 13 has in it as a crop, whether it's even planted with anything. I'm hoping it is, and I'm hoping that whatever's planted in there will be harvestable at that point later in the year when we are potentially going to be purchasing it. But I think in a moment we'll go and check that, just see exactly what's in there. This field, though, is pretty much done. Ooh, wow, that's struggling up that hill a little bit. Come on, little tractor. There you go. Up that slight incline. We've had to drop it down to gear 1 high. Back up to 2H for downhill. And then we've got a little bit at the end of the field here that we're going to have to clear up. But yeah, what have we got in field 13? Is that going to make us a big profit? Is that going to be something that we're going to have to get a new header or even an entire new harvester for? We will have to find that out fairly quickly. I think it will factor definitely into our plans. So let's have a quick look. Field 13 currently has in it, is that corn? Or is that sunflowers? Okay. Either way, we're going to need a different header to the headers we currently have on the farm. That will make us a decent amount of money, though, as sunflowers. Really, really will. And would be absolutely great. Current price, I don't know what it is. We might just drive down there quickly and have a look. I'm also intrigued to see if I can bid on it while I don't have the money. Whether that's something I then suddenly have to find the money for later on. So let's go put this tractor. I was going to clean it, but I think we've got at least 2 more months of this. No, in fact, we should clean it. It'll help keep our maintenance costs down. So I'll take this over here. We'll get this washed before the next day. But I want to take a quick trip down here to field 13 and just check on the status of it. Oh, wow. Look at those rocks. Look at those stones. This is gonna need a stone picker on it after the first harvest. We press B, though. Yeah, there we go. Your farm does not have enough money to place a bid. So we are going to have to borrow a load of money when we want to place a bid. At the moment, we can't. I think the top bid is like 47,000 to get that field. I think we're going to need probably about 60 to 70,000 by the end of the 5-day auction. But that is everything done on our farm today. We are nicely in position to pick up next time. So for now, I'm going to leave this here. So all that remains is for me to say
thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, drop us a comment, and give it a share. Special thanks to all my patrons and channel members. Your support is invaluable in making these videos and helping the channel to grow. For more from Virtual Farmer, check out the links below. Follow on Twitch to watch live, and for more videos, subscribe and ring that bell. I will see you next time. Goodbye.